Hi, thanks for joining us for another epic recap. Before proceeding, beware, this video contains spoilers. Today I'm going to explain to you an American historical fiction action film from 1999 called The 13th Warrior. The movie opens with a tale of a fallen poet from the great city of Baghdad. The poet's name is Ibn. His only crime was falling in love with a woman who belonged to another. Banished from the only home he has ever known, he is exiled as an ambassador to a faraway country in the north. Ibn and his companion Melchizedek travel a great distance and arrive at a Northman camp where they find men drinking and celebrating. Ibn cannot speak the Northman's language and has Melchizedek request an audience with their king. They discover that the king is dead, and that this is his funeral. One of the dead king's heirs is introduced to the pair as Bulawai, who asks Ibn to sing a song of glory. Ibn begins to recite a poem, but there is an assassination attempt. Bulawai kills him, and now is sole heir and king. A messenger is waiting for the revelers to notice him in the morning. The messenger is from the land of King Wulfgar and has come to ask the new king for help. Their land is being terrorized by an ancient terror that must not be named. An oracle is summoned. The oracle determines that 13 men must travel north to fight this evil. The first man to volunteer is Bulawai, showing himself a brave leader. Following his example, 11 more of the hardiest of Northmen join. After the 12th man has volunteered, the oracle reveals that the 13th man must not be a Northman. Ibn is the 13th warrior. During the travel, Ibn watches and listens to the Northmen talk and learn their language. This impresses Bulawai, who asks Ibn to show him how he can write words. After being teased for having a miniature horse, Ibn sends his horse into a gallop, jumping over many obstacles, impressing the Northmen. They travel on a boat in rough weather, where the Northmen are comfortable, and Ibn is getting seasick. They arrive on land, and Bulawai writes in the sand, just as Ibn has shown. They give him a mighty sword that Ibn is unable to lift. The herald comes to take the group to his king. While traveling through the village, they notice no men and defenses. In the main hall, they meet the king. After the meeting, the group discusses the legend of the myth. Ibn interrupts the group when he notices a young boy in the field who is covered in blood. The king's daughter knows of the boy and can lead the group to the child's home, a farmstead located further in the woods. Locating the home, they discover that the people living there have been butchered. The men believe that an ancient mythical monster, Wendell, was responsible. The men try to silence him to ward against speaking such an evil name. A Wendell with horns is watching the men from the forest. The group is disgusted to find an idol that represents the mother of Wendell. They discuss being watched by the enemy but are unable to attack. Instead, they must wait for the enemy to strike first, which will only occur at night during a mist. During dinner, they do not drink, opting to stay sober for the impending attack. They meet another of the king's sons, who has killed his own brothers to be the sole heir. The men predict a mist will arrive that night, and the group of 13 warriors lay down to rest before the attack as the mist leaks into the hall. The Wendell attack. As the battle ensues, many Wendells are slain by the fierce Northman warriors, and Ibn manages to stab one. After the Wendell kills one of the Northmen and takes his head, they retreat into the mist. When they leave, it is discovered that they also take their own dead away. After the slaughter, the warriors build defenses around the village. Ibn finds a blacksmith to shape the sword into a weapon he can now lift. Ibn is warned by a villager to beware of the prince, has been whispering into the king's ear that Bulawai wants to take the king's lands. Ibn shares the villager's warning with Bulawai, who then decides that an example needs to be made, concerned that the politics could be a distraction. Herger volunteers. While digging out the defenses, Herger purposely provokes the much larger man. Herger and the man enter an arena, each having 3 shields. The man is much bigger and younger than Herger, and Ibn fears that Herger will be killed. Herger's shields are quickly destroyed by the bigger man. It turns out that Herger was only playing possum, and beheads the man with one attack. Herger shares that strength can be planned for in battle, whereas the unknown will cause fear. Ibn delivers food to one of the men keeping watch. He mentions that it will rain because he hears thunder, but the Northman tells him that it is the sound that the tides make when crashing against the cliffs. They see that the mist is coming. A horn is heard in the distance and a fireworm is seen in the distance, coming down the mountain. The alarm is sounded, and the villagers working in the fields run back to behind the defenses. The defenses are moved into place to protect the people for the attack. The fireworm is getting closer, and is frighteningly large. A little girl is seen in the field running towards the village outside the walls. Ibn, on his horse, jumps over the defenses to save the child. Ibn, who is closer, can see that the fireworm is actually hundreds of Wendell on horses carrying torches. Ibn informs the others that it is not a giant fireworm but cavalry. The group prepares for battle. Herger and Ibn are sent to defend the north of the village. Ibn is given a chainmail shirt for armor. It is now dark, lit only by the incoming torches, and the defenders wait for the attack. The Wendel charge the village, appearing to look like bears, holding torches on horseback. The Wendel throw the torches into the village to ignite the wooden houses. They also attack with spears. Another of the original 13 warriors is slain while trying to remove a burning torch from one of the houses. Villagers rush to throw water to combat the fires. Ibn is attacked by a Wendel who is on foot. The beasts look like bears fighting with giant claws. Ibn is forced back by the bigger and stronger Wendel. He slays the Wendel and now sees only a man wearing animal fur to deceive the enemy into believing something more mythical. Having learned he was only battling a man and not an ancient evil, Ibn kills with a frenzy. The Wendel destroys the gate and begins rushing into the village. A member of the original Northmen is run down by the charging cavalry. After killing many of the Wendel with only his bare hands, another of the Northmen is slain by spears. The Northman archer is slain and things begin to look grim for the defenders as the Wendel make their way further into the village. The warriors turn to Bulawai to lead them. He rallies the remaining warriors to further press into battle with a heroic stance. The warriors are given stakes and ordered to stand on them. The stakes break the charge of the cavalry. A Wendel horn is sounded and they retreat. An especially large Wendel with horns can be seen, swinging his club. The defenders have won the day, but the village is burning. In the morning, the warriors gather in the main hall. A Wendel is brought in, and now they all confirm that the Wendel are no more than but a man. Bulawai, having learned the enemy's identity, decides to set out to track the Wendel back to their homes and attack them. The king's daughter leads the warriors to a small village of misfits and outcasts. She tells the king of an old woman who may have valuable knowledge. After giving the old women the Wendel idol, she tells Bulawai that they must kill the mother to kill the will of the Wendel. The old woman provide a cryptic message that the mother is in the earth. Before Bulawai can leave, the old woman tells him that he must also kill the leader of the Wendel, one wearing the horns of power. Without a clear destination, they plan to ride out in the direction from where the enemy came from. The group stumbles onto tracks left by the enemy. Following the trail, the men come across idols resembling bear skulls, placed there by the Wendels. Ibn curiously suggests that the Wendel want their enemies to believe they are bears, and the warriors conclude that bears sleep in caves in the earth. The warriors sneak up to the Wendel village on foot, and see the Wendel entering a cave in the rock face. With stealth silence, the warriors run through the outer village. Using one of the Wendel coverings, they surprise the guards outside the cave. The men rush further into the cavern using torches to light the way. As they make their way through the tunnels, the men remove their armor to prevent making too much noise. They have a close call as they crawl along a crack in the ground, only a few feet away from the sleeping enemy. The group comes upon a giant idol of the mother, surrounded by bones brought as an offering. They know they are close. As they make their way through another opening, they see a group of Wendels barring their path. They rappel down to the water and swim around to avoid being seen. The Northmen surprise the Wendel with a dagger attack. The other Wendel notice the commotion and join in the attack. Herger tells Bulawai to look for the mother and leader while holding the horde back. Reluctantly, Bulawai leaves his men to continue the search. Bulawai enters the lair and finds the mother of the Wendel, along with the heads of his fallen comrades. A man sitting beside Mother attacks Bulawai but is quickly dealt with. Mother dips a claw into what appears to be poison. They face off, cautiously measuring each other. Mother attacks first. She takes a step back away from Bulawai's greatsword. Bulawai strikes, but misses. Mother stabs him with her poisoned claw. The injured Bulawai strikes the killing blow, taking Mother's head off at the shoulders. Bulawai assesses his wound and realizes that she may have also landed a killing blow. Outside, the Wendel retreat back to raise the alarm. Bulawai, who is not looking well, returns to the group to tell them that it is done. Mother is dead. Knowing that the cavern will soon be filled with Wendels looking to avenge their queen, Bulawai appears defeated. They discover an opening that leads deeper in. The warriors rush through, with the Wendels closely behind, hoping to find an exit. One of the warriors is too injured to continue and tells Ibn to leave him. The men come to a dead end, where the stream ends into the rocks. Bulawai struggles to stay on his feet. The Northmen prepare to fight, but the group realizes that they are at the Thunder Cliffs and attempt to swim to freedom. They surface in a lake. Bulawai's condition is worsening, and the men fear that he will not survive the night. Bulawai laments his life and tells the men out loud that a man may be remembered if a story of his deeds were to be written. All eyes turn to Ibn. Herger tells Ibn to rest, anticipating an attack for killing the queen. He reminds him that while the queen may be dead, the leader was still left to be dealt with. Horns sound to signal the arrival of the enemy. Hastily defenses are put into place, in what is considered the village's last stand. Horsemen are rushing to attack the village, the mythical mist, no longer required to strike. Without Bulawife's leadership, the villagers are frightened as they face hundreds of Wendel, lining up to attack. Bulawai emerges weakened and dragging his sword but ready to fight and die with his men. He begins reciting an old Northman chant, which gives his men strength. The Wendel begin the charge. The warriors stand outside the defenses to face their foe, battling fiercely. Meanwhile, Bulawai comes face to face with their leader. With one great swing, he crashes the Wendel leader to the ground. Visibly weak, he defeats the final enemy. The Wendel flee after hearing their leader cry out in defeat. Bulawai collapses. With the enemy defeated, Bulawai can enter Valhalla as the true warrior. Ibn, recovered from his battle wounds, prepares to depart for his next adventure. The movie ends with a shot of Ibn as he begins to write the tale of a great warrior known as Bulawai. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more epic recaps like this and click the like button to support our channel.